Did you know that Louisiana lacks comprehensive anti discrimination laws for sexual orientation or gender identity, although some local ordinances offer broader protections than statewide law? The cities of New Orleans and Shreveport prohibit discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. Alexandria, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles, along with the parish of Jefferson, prohibit discrimination against public employees only. On February 17, 1992, Governor Edwin Edwards issued an executive order prohibiting discrimination in state employment on the basis of sexual orientation. It was allowed to lapse twice. April 13, 2016, Governor John Bel Edwards reinstated the provision. In 2016, it was struck down by an appellate court, saying that the governor had overstepped his authority. The decision was upheld by the Louisiana Supreme Court in 2018. On April 28, 2016, the Senate Labor Committee approved in a 4-3 vote a bill that would have banned employment discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. The bill, however, did not advance any further and died at the end of the legislative term. Discrimination on account of sexual orientation and gender identity is prohibited in employment as a result of Bostock versus Clayton County, but not in the areas of housing, healthcare, education, credit, or public accommodations. Louisiana is one of the few southern states which has a hate crime statute that provides penalty enhancements for crimes motivated by the victim's sexual orientation or perceived sexual orientation. The state law does not include gender identity, but hate crimes committed on the basis of the victim's gender identity can be prosecuted through federal courts under Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act, which was signed into law in October 2009 by President Barack Obama. In 1988 and 1999, Louisiana added provisions to its civil code that prohibited same-sex couples from marrying and prohibited the recognition of same-sex marriages from other jurisdictions. Louisiana added bans on same-sex marriage and civil unions to its constitution in 2004. In federal court in Robichaux versus Caldwell, plaintiffs challenged the state's refusal to recognize same-sex marriages from other jurisdictions. U.S. District Judge Martin Feldman ruled September 3, 2014, for the state, writing that Louisiana has a legitimate interest, whether obsolete in the opinion of some or not in the opinion of others, in linking children to an intact family formed by their two biological parents. What that has to do with same-sex marriage, I don't know. Okay. Anyways, it was appealed. Yeah, the decision was appealed. But Obergefell versus Hodges was decided in the meantime, and that Supreme Court decision allowed for same-sex marriage throughout the land. So, nanny boo-boo. On September 22nd, 2014, Judge Edward Rubin found Louisiana's prohibition on allowing married same-sex couples to adopt to be unconstitutional and granted the first same-sex adoption in the state in Costanza versus Caldwell.